Now, there will be a merging, guys, because the game crashed on the previous one, so I restarted. But now we can proceed with the second game between DutchArmy and Opshijao, and this time we are on Battle Base Beta. On the bottom side, and let's double check just in case. On bottom side we have the Red Empire DutchArmy, and on the top we have the Opshijao in the light blue, and previous game was scored by, if I remember correct, the Opshijao, so we should be naturally cheering for the Dutch army. And naturally, an allies player, now he is going for the Empire, which is interesting for me because, after all, this map does not significantly give a less advantage for the allies, but still is a good to go pick for any kind of allies play. On the meantime, we see some two dojos approaching on the midsection. One is already deployed, the second one is in progress of being deployed. On the meantime, DutchArmy is sneaking his own dojo to this refinery point of Opshijiao. So I think we may see... Okay, no, he wants to get rid of the garrisons and he shall do it very quickly with this tank buster. I think it will be enough. Burst run attached on the dojo core, a nice move. But now the attacked itself, and oh, that's a very nice move, by the way, coming from... I think this one is Opshijiao's drone attached on the Chami's dojo core. Unfortunately, the garrison clearing did not happen very quickly as the Chami predicted, so now he is retreating back to his own southern transport and gets his own troops. This is a good moment for striking some of the units. Dojo core is reasonably alone and gets sniped beautifully by the southern transport of the Dutch army. On the meantime, Dutch army is also Orderic is now under attack, but he deployed his first Tengu ready to strike. On the meantime, it's a decent, actually, a burst drone play. I'm slowing the economy. This Tengu is actually here for the scouting measures. And it's like a trade for the oil derricks. Dutch army literally says, like, okay, you can take my oil derrick, and in short fashion, I will take yours. Yes. Three Imperial warriors are just engaged for nothing, but I mean, they shouldn't abandon this garrison post. I think it would be better also taking this one as well, so you can create a natural scouting point for this place. Now that Charmy is bolstering the numbers of the Tengus, 4 on the skies, on the meantime, Opshijao, 4 on the land. Okay, quick update. He also get them into Jet Mengu as well. But now that Charmy lands his own Tengus. Now southern transport moving very quickly. And now they are exposed. The tank busters actually dealing heavy damage to one single Tengu, but he lost one tank buster on the time. Fortunately, he couldn't deal the killing blow on this Tengu, so I think Dutch army is still good to go on this clash. On the meantime, the southern transport has been exposed. There are so many southern transports here, I mean, hard to follow them really. But, I mean, 3 Tengu versus 6. But the reinforcements have arrived. One Tengu started for the harassment run. This MCV can actually unpack. But now all of the Tengus have landed and the fight has been begun. These Tengus dealing so good splash damage to the Opshijiao's Tengus, but the numbers are not in favor for the Dutch army. He is now in a retreat, and this collector also survives. Now I think attacking time goes for Opshijiao maybe, but instead he goes for a more defensive point. In time he wants to, I think, increase the numbers to overwhelm the Dutch army's Tengus, but remember, these are Tengus. I mean, if you can sneak them to the very, very close ranks, point blank range of the enemy units, they can deal a very nice chunk of splash damage. Opshijao heavily reaching to the Chinese base, but he's now he is welcomed with a great amount of Tengu, and this southern transport unfortunately gets sniped. Tank busters are borrowed. Now they are unbarreled again, ready to take down these walls, or even maybe better, the refinery can be taken down. More Tengus are arriving in the favor for the Opshijiao, but this is a very not a very good point for the attacking. After all, the Chinese mecha base is very near. All of the reinforcements will arrive immediately. Now, DutchArmy tried to do some sneaky wall plays to disjoint these attacking units, but it's not going to be working. On the meantime, DutchArmy can't spend moments for repairing his own Tengus. Now, Tengus are going to meet each other. The tank busters are alive, and I'm taking one by one. All of the tank busters are taken down, and so many Tengus are low HP, and this Tengu died for nothing. Now, combat has begun. DutchArmy, instead of making them move close, they try to move to the jet boat to escort them to the Mecha Bay. Same coming from the Opshijao as well. Now, DutchArmy is moving them next to the Opshijao's Tengus to do more damage. And now, suddenly, the numbers are not working for each player. But now, Opshijao actually goes to jet mode and try to snipe all of these retreating and repairing Tengus. Now, DutchArmy is a bit pinned down in his own base, and Opshijao is now making the retreat call and going back to base with 4 Tengus in total. I mean, 4 here and 5. The 5th Tengu just has arrived. On the meantime, DutchArmy wants to seize this momentum and try to engage on the Opshijao. Fortunately, I think the loss came from the Opshijao in this case, because he lost his tank busters, he couldn't deal a significant amount of damage to the refinery, he couldn't take down the collector, but he engaged on Tengu and lost the Tengus. Now, I think Opshijao goes for the second try. Almost there to engage. And the fight seems to begin now, but DutchArmy says nope, and I will just go for the land. Now, Opshijao also landed his Tengus, but this is not the best way. I mean, 2 Tengus taken 1 already. But now, point defense throws have been activated, and this same response coming from the DutchArmy as well. DutchArmy and crashing it. I couldn't say unpack for a moment, so apologies. But now this is almost a mirror match, and Opshijao realizing that this will end for nothing, and this Tengu snipes through the collector, and this will put DutchArmy in a serious setback, because now he is 1 behind collector compared with Opshijao. But right now the retribution is arriving from the DutchArmy. All of his Tengus now arriving up, and see this now unpacked for the Opshijao. DutchArmy not landing, okay, deciding it's time to land for the harassment for the harvesters like this. Severe damage has been dealt, but Opshijao decides to have it repaired. But now this Tengu can actually do exactly the same. For a split-second moment, Tengu gets stuck, and Opshijao couldn't realize, or maybe just stand for a millisecond, decide what to do, and now realizing the collector is safe, he targets Tengu and damages it. Now, this game is not in favor for the DutchArmy. He is now, but he's on tier 2, and that's something. He gets tsunami tanks, and he can actually handle many of the Tengus with just 1 single tsunami tank. After all, he can deal some significant damage, and then escort it with the nano deflectors. In the meantime, another sudden transport play, that would be very nice. Now Opshijao has arrived, realizing that DutchArmy has sold his MCV. This power plant, I mean, is a very critical right now. Should he lose it, he will be on low power mode, and that will be meaning that his production will be slowed. In the meantime, things are not bad in Opshijao. I mean, he still has his MCV, so this means he will have access to point defense drones. So on long run, he has advantage, and DutchArmy now lost his own point defense drones. So now advantage is very goes for the Opshijao, but we have a sudden cash influx from the DutchArmy for selling the MCV, so he can get actually more units. And on top of that, he is in tier 2, so he has more units composition availability. But we are speaking of the Empire here. I mean, most of the time when you play Empire, you will always get to have some Tengus, and when you get to tier 3 to get some Wave Force artilleries or maybe King Donis, that will be a point that you will definitely want to build or will need to build more Mecha Tengus. Now, that's actually a nice move for moving over here. I'm realizing that your opponent has sold the MCV and 1 collector behind. You can actually go for tier 2 and also a 1 extra refinery. DutchArmy cooking something sneaky on the meantime, attracting attention for the midsection of the map. These garrisons at this point really serve for anything. Shouldn't be matter. Opshijao is actually like, his Tengus are lined like a parade for the protocols when arrive. I mean, remember that when the protocols arrive or VIPs arrive, the army soldiers line up facing in a parallel manner. But that's how they are lined up right now. Dutch army having some second thoughts. Now the third thoughts, I mean whether engaging or not, now fourth, is going back and forth, can't really determine what to do right now. He doesn't know that his opponent is on a three refineries, let alone, I mean, he is in good shape. Now VX taking some cheap shots on this tsunami tank. I mean, at this point, after selling the MCV, you should really consider attacking because more time passes, it's not very good for you. Now VX is dangerously exposed. The two tsunami tanks low. Chopper VX activation comes from the DutchArmy, and now this tsunami tank, they're going back and forth. I mean, he's drawing fire, but he's not unyielding. He didn't. I mean, this tsunami tank didn't go flying. And now that's the play we would like to see. Even though DutchArmy is falling on behind, the sudden transport goes in and takes the Mecha Bay. Maybe you can also take the construction yard as well, but after all, Mecha Bay is something as well. The tier is now reset, and on top of this, we have something better. Now, you can't even produce units. Now, that's a very balancing blow. I mean, you lost your collector, correct. You sold your MCV, correct, but your opponent has to go all over for making a new Mecha Bay and going for new units. That's a good equalizer blow from the DutchArmy, but Opshijao, now pissed off, he wants to do something, but realizing he can't, Tsunami Tank escorted all over here and targeting this third refinery. And this refinery really paid off recently, so that's not a very nice thing to experience. But now Chopper VXs have arrived and make shock work of this Tsunami Tank. On the meantime, DutchArmy again approaching the base. He knows that this is a good moment to attack. His opponent can't get tier 2 units but only Mechatengus. Meanwhile, he has access to Tsunami Tanks and Chopper VXs. But I think Opshijiao doesn't really care and goes for, once again, for tier 2 on the Mecha Bay. Yep, tier 2 has been purchased. I think right now Opshijiao should have some cash. Yes, he is. Now, DutchArmy also proceeding again. Now, walls are being built. The army is now slowly moving into it. Collector is under attack, but now Chopper VX is down in good proximity to protect them. On the meantime, tsunami tanks are engaging, but this is a minor skirmish. I mean, they are going back and forth. Chopper VX finds an opening to snipe this tsunami tank, but fails to do so. Debris is going to deal some damage on the point defense drones. I mean, at this point, I think DutchArmy can consider rebuilding his MCV. I mean, not so much thing is happening, unfortunately. They are just expecting a mistake from their opponents. And DutchArmy realizing that this starting point can cause some issues, and meanwhile not staying idle, wants to clear out immediately. Right, point defense drones coming from Opshijao once again, and we haven't seen enough, let's say, strategy or maybe courage coming from the DutchArmy. I mean, now his army is in interesting shape. I mean, it's composed of striker VXs and tsunami tanks, and that, okay, he has tanks as well. Another tsunami tank, another lost ball collector. And that's a way to handle your opponent. On the meantime, now Tengu's dangerously close to the army of the Opshijiao. Now strikers have landed, so does the Tengus. Great, we're going to see more back and forth action as well. And come on, guys. That'll be very difficult. But after all, this is Empire. I mean, for example, in many games that you can play, things go very interesting when you play Empire. Like numbers can work for you or work very against you. Especially against allies, it will not work for you. Like, you can have so many Tengus, and when you land them in the near Mirage tanks, they will snipe them in one shot. Now, okay, back to the game. Now, all refinery is being targeted. Now, all these striker VXs, thankfully, they have landed. Now, one Tengu has been sniped. This chopper VX is going backwards. so many land army, but Dutch army definitely needs a point defense drone. Meanwhile, all of the units of Opshijao have a defense drone. This VX just makes a turn but dies immediately, sniped by the strike of VXs. This refinery is still under threat. Dominate tsunami tanks and now can't decide whether move or forward. Tengus hit down 111, and then tsunami tank goes down as well. Opshijiao tsunami tank with the rank is going down. Other tsunami tank goes down as well. Feeling bold, DutchArmy retreats, wants to build more tsunami tanks to engage on his opponent. After all, the only land presence he had was tsunami tanks, and now he's engaging, but going back again, moving the one with the low HP. But I mean, escorted the collector as well. That's fine. Now, point defense drones once again deployed. DutchArmy is in a trouble. He is in trouble because his units does not have it, and in a dire situation like this, you will definitely want to have any kind of advantage on your side. Now, DutchArmy tries to make some light skirmishes to wear off these point defense drones. Tengus are now engaging one by one. Some interesting macro play coming from the Opshijao. I mean, this tsunami tank can't decide whether to go for in or go reverse mode. But now, Collector completely exposed, but now going back. You can actually attack the refinery, by the way. Anyway, now Opshijao moving more closer. Tengus landed down. Striker VX goes down immediately. Tengus are now engaging on the tsunami tanks of the Dutch army, but at this point, I don't think Dutch army can hold any longer because Opshijao is just in a position to make just Q and attack move, and that will be all. Or maybe not. You've seen his retreat coming from, or was it a feint retreat? And we don't see any kind of all-in coming from both sides. I mean, they just use some of the units to fight with each other to see if they are going to get any kind of damage. This strike will be cut down, takes a unit, leaves some damage with the debris. Now tanks are terribly outpositioned. Now Tengus want to deal some damage with this suicide explosives. Are they going to be successful? I mean, sort of. Once again, this tank is actually dealing some damage. Beautiful. Tengu going for the suicide damage. Now Empire's Rage coming from the Opshijiao. Now refinery is completely exposed, and now this refinery goes down. And remember, DutchArmy does not have an MCV or construction yard, so he is now down to one refinery. DutchArmy, this is it. I mean, this is it or not. I mean, you can't handle this. You are against 3 refineries to 1 refinery. You can't build the new one unless you have the MCV. And that would be an excellent point if you only had a dojo core, so you can also once again sneak it and take it his own MCV or mecha bay for your own, and so you can make a quick sell. Or I mean, imagine that you get his MCV stolen, okay, and then your point defense should be online, and you press it, sell it, so your opponent will be like, oh wait, he has an MCV or not? Oh wait, that's my MCV, then he will say. Now DutchArmy once again tried it, going toe-to-toe with this star rank tsunami tank. It's going to be difficult for him, but this star rank, we didn't see the end of the star rank tsunami tank, but DutchArmy realizing that he can't hold any longer and taps out from the game, and this would make 2-0 for the favor of the Opshijao. A bit rough game for the DutchArmy. I mean, he had a moment and he actually a very nice steal of the mecha bay, but he couldn't use the momentum. Fortunate for him, but his opponent did actually use the momentum and use everything for himself and scored the game. So let's see the third game between our players. Now, all should be good. Now we are on the third game, and this time we are on industrial strength. On the bottom we have the green empire. This is Opshijao. On the meantime, we have the red allies DutchArmy. Once again, going for his, let's say, main action. Instead of going for empire, he goes for the allies. So we root for him, we cheer for him, and he starts with 1 barracks placed on their backplates. Instead of going to see a quick airfield, he goes for the barracks and quickly goes for this oil derrick and also expansion points, I guess. On the meantime, we see Opshijiao making a one central dojo core and two outlying dojo cores for the contesting the old lyrics, and we will see. So far so good. This map favors also allies a lot because after all, I mean, these hill spots serve for perfect spots, I mean, perfect vantage points for the javelins to snipe down these buildings. So when you are building against allies, you always want to focus on the center, but not very much because after all, the allies will get to access or cryogeddon, and you don't want your buildings to be targeted by cryogeddon and lost all of your infrastructure in a matter of seconds. So you have to be planning very wide, or at least block your opponent entering here. So this same can apply for the Empire as well. After all, I mean, a striker reaction positioned over here can go in, dish the damage out, and go back very easily before you can react. So once again, air superiority works a lot in this map, but remember, the distance is relatively short and there are so many garrisons, so this means also, yes, the infantry battle matters a lot here. So that's why we see DutchArmy right now focusing some infantry presence on the map. On the meantime, that Opshijao also has some Imperial warriors, but most of them are actually with the garrison. Also, this garrison is also nice. I mean, you can always gain access to knowledge about the opponent's economy. On the meantime, DutchArmy going aggressively for the garrisons. Peacekeepers are proceeding very quickly. One peacekeeper goes down, but these two javelins, I think they should be enough to take down this garrison as well. Vindicators now online and they dealing some damage around, but dealing also splash damage to this construction yard of himself. First Tengu goes out and... What's happening, doggy? Oh no. It seems like another bug in Red Dead 3 game. Anyway, now we are back. Now, Opshijiao sends two of his Imperial warriors for the garrison points. On the meantime, he wants to take down this Derrick. I wonder if he's going to manage it. Now, peacekeepers are out, expecting the opening point to do engagement. Vindicator. No, okay, these are Apollos. 3 Apollos. Okay, that's very high. I hope Opshijiao considers going for tier 3. I'm sorry, tier 2 any soon. Walls are being built. Multi-gunner trick also cleans them out. Now Tengus have gone for Jet Tengu. One Apollo goes down, but the second just exploded very quickly. The second Tengu goes down as well. A trade that DutchArmy can always go for any moment. On the meantime, DutchArmy also protects his own oil derrick. He has a good amount of peacekeepers. I mean, enough to intimidate these Imperial warriors, but now he is making them stay idle. Finally, they are ejected from the garrison, and now they are to engage. One peacekeeper also gets down. Now peacekeepers are very close, and maybe this was the bait for the Opshijiao. All of these peacekeepers are now going for the shield mode one by one. Now 3 peacekeepers are now going for the garrison point, but I mean, it's not very working in favor. And also, you could also trade your Imperial warrior with the one peacekeeper. I mean, that's a trade that makes you put an advantage. Now we have 4 Imperial warriors against 5 peacekeepers. A match that these Imperial warriors can't really stand against. Now DutchArmy goes for another scouting run. I mean, these Tengu numbers are quite growing healthy, but Opshijiao will definitely needs an on-point defense drone at this point. And if this is how it wants to play, I don't think he will any soon gain advantage. Now, ammo facility is on and multi-gunner IFE is around, but I think that's not necessary. I mean, he could always go for second airfield and match the amount of Tengus that Opshijiao wants to make. You get to see one Imperial warrior goes missing. Okay, he wants to get to the garrison points. IFB is in an odd position, I must confess. Some scouting runs happening. Refinery core. Better to be protected well. Now Tengu's engaging. These 2 IFBs are very close. Now Tengus have landed and one One IFB suffers from the falling debris, but Guardian Tank arrives. So that's a call for the retreat, I suppose. We're going to see this Tengu die. Okay, that's an interesting... I mean, not to lose a Tengu for the Vindicator. He actually got all of these Tengus on the jet mode, but now these Guardian tanks are completely free to enter the base. So what kind of response you're going to have? And also this refiner was very newly built. So I think Guardian tank will sneak in and take down the collector. Cryo shot has been used, Tengus arriving in response, but really almost yes. Right. Now collector is half HP has been taken down, so get the bombing right. Out of all Tengus, DutchArmy spots the one that does not have the point defense drone and snipes it down immediately. Now IFB is targeting why? I mean you just one Guardian tank can actually take it here down. Why do you use a target painter with IFBs? How necessary is that? But now we see Opshijao going for the sea expansion point. I mean, not a bad option because after all, DutchArmy is now quite busy with making some land army, Guardian tanks and IFBs. He's not dedicated for making riptides. Until he gets a seaport, that's another story. Okay, that's a nice move. I mean, making a dojo core to match against these Guardian tanks. You may not really want to get more and more Tengus, or let's say stunning tanks against Guardian tanks. Proper response would be a cheap but powerful tank busters. Now Wolfswag is being done, more wolves are being injected, but this will lead him into this place, this section, this expansion point of the base. Now DutchArmy also, I think he has the knowledge of this base. Yes, he does. He knows that Opshijiao tried to expand over here. Fortunately, the refinery goes down. All of Tengu's land down to kill just only 4 peacekeepers. This tsunami, knifed very quickly. That's actually a very reasonable, sizable land army, and I think as long as, even if he gets a chopper reactions, I mean there are IFBs. Trouble is brewing. DutchArmy still takes the garage and also goes for the tier 3. The telecannon and Mirage tanks are on the field. I don't think Opshijiao can't handle this one. I mean, he's focusing a lot. Of course, at this point, I mean, you can be watchful over this one. Meanwhile, your base is under attack. A Riptide for the frontline position to handle down these tank busters, but I mean, Cryo Shot has been used. This would be a good moment if you wish to strike. After all, each passing moment, your opponent will get more and more peacekeepers. I see, that's the point. This is very hard to watch, but slowly Opshijiao is now losing. After all, his opponent can make a much more composite army. 1, 2, Warriors slash 3 peacekeepers. Athena cannon has been taken down. I don't really advise this because after all he has a Mirage tank and Mirage tanks can actually snipe all of the Tengus one by one. These will scatter move coming from the DutchArmy. And these 2 units are actually making a run from this chunk of the tank busters, but now they have cut them loose. But still there is a sizable army. Even though DutchArmy has advantage, he has tier 3 and the garage, these tank busters mean no joke. And they can they can lash out incredible amount of damage in a short amount of time. But right now, the separated army also makes some hitting shots, and this Chopper VX has arrived to handle down this Guardian tank and the Mirage tank. On the meantime, Mirage tank is dealing some damage and going back and forth, and Tank Buster is now taking an unnecessary amount of damage from the Peacekeepers, and they're being close with each other. All of the units are now dying one by one with the tank, with the Guardian tank, and now Athena Cannon also arrived, no longer being needed for engagement. After all, DutchArmy can pick them one by one from the distance. And Riptide once again just securing the point over here. So no economical advantage for the Opshijao. He has 2 refineries, and that will be his whole economy at this point. That's a bit cool. Cryoblast is being used. Interesting move coming from the DutchArmy. Maybe he, for a moment, thought that it may not work because, yes, it freezes, and Cryoblast freezes the refinery, we know that, but we don't know if it works on a refinery on deployment. So maybe that's why he hesitated and dropped 2 bombs to deal the maximum amount of damage, but left the one in case if gets frozen. So after that, he left the last bomb and takes down the final nail in the coffin. Right again. I mean, Opshijao gets a third refinery working, but with one Riptide or one Vindicator, you take that immediately. MCV must be deployed, and this refinery already gets sniped. Tank busters can't even get close. Even if they get close, I mean, they will be shred to pieces thanks to these peacekeepers. Now, a very small sizable tank is landed very close with the range of the Titanic cannon. But, I mean, after all, you took the Titanic cannon, and that will be all. So what else? You are now left with 2 Tengus and some measly 7, maybe. Yep, 7 tank busters versus this heavy allied armor infantry army. And I mean, yeah, attacking garage is something, but when you do this like maybe 5 or 10 minutes later after very important engagements, that's not going to work. Now, DutchArmy plays this game in a very beautiful manner. I mean, after all, he doesn't really attack. He can do the Raspit run as he wishes, because after all, he pins Opshijiao in his own base. Now, MCV taking more and more damage. Final shot coming. Mirage tank making quick work of all of the Tengus, even though if they have quick defense drones, that's not going to work for them. And Opshijiao realizes that this is going to be more difficult. Taps out and gives the first victory for the DutchArmy. So this makes 2-1. So hopefully we will see the 2-2 from the DutchArmy as well. I mean, that was a beautiful performance, a beautiful allies performance from the DutchArmy from that game. And we will see the next game. Alright guys, we are now back and we are on a deep sea, or if it was deep blue, I can't really remember, but it doesn't really matter. We have on the bottom side Empire purple, this is Opshijao, and once again the red allies, this is the DutchArmy. Good to see that he is playing. I mean, he's back on his own main main faction to play. Why am I saying civilizations? Well, I'm recently playing Age of Empires, so I'm quite hooked. My apologies for calling it that manner. And also, guys, beautiful game. I recommend if you also like a strategy game that is being updated. So I'm recently playing Age of Empires 4, and beautiful game. I mean, finally we get to see a real-time strategy with, I mean, updated UI and UX, some good stuff, balancing, constant updates. Something that we don't see on Red Alert 3 much often. I mean, the community would be dying for maybe a new update, a new patch, better official. I mean, if it's official, that would be better, because after all, we see after many years, uh, that was from Warcraft 3. I mean, Warcraft 3 actually got an official patch for balance. And the game is actually like 20 years old, 10 years old. The Warcraft 3 was published, if I remember correctly, 2009. So I should be around like 10 years old. But after that many years, after so many games came out, after so many things have changed, after StarCraft actually got published and demolished everything else on its path in the RTS scene, Warcraft is actually get an update. I'm not also speaking about that disgusting reforged stuff, that money scam. That would be much more easy to say. But the game actually get a balance patch in game, so that's something. And I mean, I wonder if we are going to see that for maybe Red Alert 2 or Red Alert 3, but chances are really highly unlikely that that's not going to be happening anytime soon. I mean, thankfully, the only patch thing or update that is reasonable we have got, I think, is OpenAI. Was that OpenAI or something like that? Open Red Alert or some Open RR or something. I saw some Dune 2000 games over there, but I honestly say it doesn't feel the same gimmick that gives the original games to you. The gimmick that original games gives to you. But anyway, any update can be welcomed as long as it makes sense. Imagine you make an update and then suddenly Imperial Warriors become free. Now, how is that going to make the gaming scene interactive? Anyway, back to the game. Now, DutchArmy is now welcoming a very high amount of Imperial Warriors. Now, Imperial Warriors can be very threatening and troublemaking. The only issue is that they have difficulty with hacking the walls. So that means this base is actually relatively safe. Exception goes for this MCV, which is now under threat and taking some reasonable amount of damage. Apollo making some hit and run, but I don't really think that would be the way how to micro them. I mean, Dutch Army, we have seen him so many times able to micro and lose his tail against aerial targets with his own Apollos. Now, MCV on half HP already. I hope that whatever Dutch Army wants to execute, engineer goes out and repairs the MCV into full health. Multi-gunner threat has been deployed, but not very working wise for the Chinese side. On the meantime, we see more Tengus are being pulled down, and two Tengus land in to handle down these peacekeepers. Meanwhile, these Imperial Warriors can deal some damage to the MCV. Construction, yeah. It's safe to say, unfortunately, DutchArmy seems like a hidden pin, but now multi-gunner threat is online and taking some damage to this Tengu, and Tengu didn't even bother to deal splash damage to this multi-gunner threat, which you can actually use it. Now, once again, Apollo being targeted by hostile units, and I mean, what's up with these Apollo counts with the Chami side? I mean, he lost two of his Apollos already, and somehow Opshijao thinks it's a wise idea to escort all of these Tengus from this section of the map so multi-gunner threats can deal actual damage to them. Now, collectors are completely, unfortunately, vulnerable for these harassment run. Now, Apollo arrives and snipes down one Tengu in a beautiful fashion. Two multi-gunner threats are now protecting the base, but that's a bit going to be a dangerous proposition. After all, you will need more and more power plants. Speaking about power plants, Dutch Army only has two of them. The third one should be around here because there's a garrison over here. Now, collector has been repaired. Uh-oh. That's sad. Javelin has been traded for one single Imperial Warrior for the garrison battles. More Tengus are going to join in the fray. I think in this game, Dutch Army wants to play much more defensive, relies most of his base defense in multi-gunner turrets, instead of more aerial units or deploying a barracks perhaps, or an armor facility, doesn't matter, he wants more units. I mean, Opshijao is now making semi-effective harassment runs. But now this power plant is actually in a bad position. This another multi-gunner turret. Fine. There's so many multi-gunner turrets we see in this game from the Dutch Army's perspective. I mean, they are strong, sure, but I mean, if you over-rely them, what's going to happen is your opponent will find out that your base is very reliant on the multi-gunner turrets. So we will target probably your power plants, and then you will have to see yourself setting some of the multi-gunner turrets you see unnecessary. Opshijao building his forces and then going for the point defense drones. So is this going to be it? Ah, second airfield. Okay. I mean, this will make DutchArmy feel much more better because after all, he doesn't want to lose his own Vindicators, reasonably. But he can't get more Apollos. And he is losing the numbers. I mean, he already lost at this point in the aerial fights. But in a moment, if he gets, for example, if he fills this hangar with more Apollos, I mean, five Apollos can actually go toe to toe against this amount of Tengus, or even maybe trade, because you can replenish your Apollos much more faster than if your opponent can replenish his own Tengu forces. Now, Opshijiao is actually just flying around the map, not going to do anything significant with his own Tengus. I mean, he has, let's see, 3 refineries, which is actually very nice. 1 garrison point, not that bad. On the meantime, DutchArmy is actually literally pinned in his base. Can't really go inwards or forward. But at least he has some ammo facility, but he's not in tier 2, so I think he will make some IFVs to match against these number of Tengus. Uh, I guess this is more Tengus, it's not tier 2 for the Mecha Bay. Yep. Oh la la, okay, so the Opshijao is actually going for the 4th refinery. So things are going very well for him. Cryo shot has been used, but Opshijiao is very mindful in this game and dodges it immediately. So this will be like, I think, both of the players, it will be waiting another one to commit a mistake so they can gain an advantage and strike. Wait a second. Did he sell his airport? Yes, he sell his airbase. He sell the second airbase after getting the amount of Apollos. Bombs away, all Tengus are out. Oh no, all of the Vindicators are now sniped just for 1 Dojo Core. And you have waited way too long for them. A terrible way. A 3rd refinery is now under threat, and there is no multi-gunner turret yet. Walls are being built, but I don't think that will be enough. This command is being deployed, but I think Opshijao got what he wants here. After all, he is having some huge economical advantage. He's on 4. What? 5. 5th refinery is actually being deployed. Fine. But I think this is a bit overkill. I mean, that's not unnecessary. That's unnecessary. Yes, you are having some troubles with your cash.
I'll collect the goods.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need them. Also, Tengu's now landed on top of the 1 IFB. And IFB gets like the second one. Opshijao calls it not worth it, and he leaves it away. What? We have? I mean, this man, insane. Is it trolling? Like he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 refineries. On top, the DutchArmy is on the tier 2, which is not that bad, but now huge Tengu crowd just descends on this Guardian tank. Cryo shot has been used. Now Opshijiao is ever watchful, negates it. Riptide intercepts this deployment of the oil refinery. On the meantime, this one is unharmed. Or not really. Okay, that's good to hear. And that's good to see. Opshijao is now thinking like what to save first, like this refinery or this refinery. And he chooses the latter one because this is only targeted by 1 single riptide. And okay, this is Guardian. Tankbusters exit and re-enter the garrison. And this refinery gets actually taken down. Now 4 Guardian tanks on the field, which is a bit more than Tengus to chew. Oh. Biotic Decimator. Okay, he is definitely trolling. Like he believes that he gets the Dutch army under his palm and believes that this game is just a win, which is maybe true. But I mean, this is allies, and better yet, this is Dachami. He knows the allies. Oh, Cyrus Decimator has been deployed. 6 minutes started the ticking down. But again, I mean, this is just not a normal regular player. This is Dachami playing allies, and he knows what his allies capable of. He can actually make a strict comeback, and that would be a great humiliation. So I would not do something like this. This IFV has been spotted. I don't know if all of these Tengus. Okay, some of the Tengus have actually landed down. But this IFP is actually having some free time. But this IFP does not have any kind of engineer in it, so I don't know what is he going to do. On the meantime, DutchArmy making some multi-pronged attack on his refineries, which is not a bad option. This Riptide is already on low HP, but this refinery is soon to be found once it can't defend itself and gets destroyed. This IFP is solely serving as a distraction point, which is actually very nice from DutchArmy. He is not saying that, okay, GG, I mean, I can't win this one. He is actually trying and do some economical damage before, I mean, gathering and accumulating his own army to make a final push. But for this, he is actually has only 5 minutes left. Because after all, I mean, Nanoswarm Hive can't be that much dangerous. But Silent Decimator is. Now, I like this one, Engineer, and also Cryocopter. So, Opshijiao, I mean, on the first game, or second game, if I remember correctly, lost his Mecha Bay to an Engineer in a sudden transport. Now, DutchArmy making some progress on moving forward. Wave Tower Core. Dry shot used on a handful of the tank busters, which is effective. This garrison has been denied. Some of the tank busters are dying for nothing. These are still alive. Now, peacekeepers want to get down this garrison, and soon they shall. This Nanosar High is actually very dangerous in a terrible position for DutchArmy. DutchArmy using actually all of his units in a maximum capacity, using this Guardian Tank Target Painter and the rest of his units to target and focus fire on units. This Nanosar Hive is going to be taken down very soon. Mecha Bay, also tier 3 Mecha Bay that was. DutchArmy, come on. And you could really use it. I mean, imagine that you get that Kingoni in his base and then roaming around and killing everything. Not to mention that Opshijiao didn't have any kind of striker reaxes. Now Opshijiao, realizing that underestimating his opponent is going to cost him gravely, he sold one of his refinery. I mean, outlying refineries cannot be defended that well. But these two wave force artilleries are going to be a very difficult thing to handle. He knows that his opponent does not have Vindicators. Now Cryocopter is used on one. Ooh, we have a Yuriko here. So this Cryocopter should be very careful. Whoever makes the first contact is going to win. Refinery goes down and this barracks is being sold. Oh, another engineer?
We must seek refuge.
Okay, almost make it. Almost make it. Oh no. A nice try from DutchArmy still. And this is actually very, I mean, imagine you have a Tanya here. The damage you give will be incalculable. So many generators, so many, I mean, tier 3 for Mecha Bay and barracks. Cryocopter is now targeting the wave force artillery. Shrunk down. I mean, this would be a nice moment to realize that maybe I did a lot. I mean, maybe I overexerted myself. Because this army can stop Opshijiao for real. Oh no. Now Apollos are now targeting, but these three Cryocopters, they should not fall, but they are now under wrath of the Tengus, and all of them are like taken one by one. Where is the high-tech units? There's only one, and Wave Force Artillery goes for back and positions itself much more better. Two of the generative cores are now frozen. And this Yuriko, I mean, the entire army of DutchArmy is now under mercy of the Yuriko. In the meantime, we have 1 minute and 40 seconds thanks to this freezing of the generators. This will give him more time. But Dutch Army, I think his sold is now airbase. Ah, no. His refinery is not working. I realizes it and now sells it. Two Riptides, I think he wants to take handle it over here, but there's now a Yari. And if Opshijao mindful enough, he can handle it. Now two Wave Force, one Yuriko, a handful of tank busters, and so many Jet Tengus. Another engineer run, we're going to see. Now, if we have anything over here this time, and we have a handful of Imperial Warriors. If only, like for example, if only the Chami could do this with Tanya or maybe Spy, that would be much better for him. Come on. Come on. Dutcharmy, come on. Come on. Ah, but that's too bad. It actually resets the timer. That's something. I mean, imagine that he had time, like maybe 30, 40 seconds. Ooh. Dutch army is literally migrating to Opshijiao's base, and Opshijiao's units are actually tailing them. IFV rockets are targeting the Tengus, but that's not going to work for a long time. A beautiful move for the Kingonis for doing the bull rush to make, shorten the distance. Now another sign of Decimator is being built, but DutchArmy realizes that he is far behind in terms of economy and taps out, leaving the victory for the Opshijiao. So this means, unfortunately, the name of the Dutch army gets eliminated in this tournament, and Opshijiao gets himself carried into the next step. So guys, this is the final game between our players. Hopefully you liked it. This was the alternative bracket between Opshijiao and Dutch army. If you liked the casting, feel free to leave a like or comment, and even if you consider subscribing, that will be very good. So stay tuned.